Sups up everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm here to talk to you about the star of Genshin Impact 3.3. Let's be honest here, TCG, whether you like it or not, is going to be here to stay. And whether you devote hours of your time at learning, mastering, becoming proficient, and maybe even having some fun. Oh my goodness, who would have thought, right? Having fun in Genshin Impact couldn't be me. But jokes aside, guys, the TCG is the newest addition to Genshin's ever-expanding rosters of permanent content. And I gotta say, I'm okay with it, right? I am extremely excited leading up to 3.3, but after playing the TCG a little bit, I mean, it's not amazing. It's not like a revolutionary game mode. Let's be honest, right? Like, real talk here with you guys. I'm not here to blow smoke up your cheeks, but at the same time, I don't want to just be doom posting this game mode like every other Genshin hater who wants this game to be some sort of open world, endless combat MMORPG with tons of endgame grind, no resin. It's unrealistic. What is realistic is that Genshin is an expanding game with multiple game modes that caters towards a more casual experience, and the Genshin TCG certainly delivers to that demographic. The game mode, it's nothing revolutionary, but it uses the Genshin IP to bring our favorite characters deeper into the Genshin world design. Now let's start with some of the strength for this game mode before we get into the cons. The strength honestly is just that it's quick. It's not too long. It's less than 10 minutes per game, and for the most part, the cards are dynamic enough for us to get variance. Now this is very important. For a repeatable game mode, you need to have an incredible amount of variance to the point where each round can feel like a different approach. Now that doesn't mean that players won't figure out the best way to play certain meta decks or cheese comps where they just constantly spam them, leading to incredibly frustrating online matchmaking, but that's a video for another day. Currently, right now, with the standard set of cards that we have, there are things to speed up your turn, there are things to hinder your opponents, there are things that you can place on the field to kind of drag out for a long battle if you want, or speed up, hyper invest into one character and just smack the crap out of the enemy within the first few rounds. Everything can be meticulously calculated by the player and how they construct their deck, and I think that is one of the beauties of card games, especially card games with dual features, meaning you have to go up against an opponent. There are basic card games where the rules are set for everybody and we all share the same deck, but this right here, the option to customize your own deck, and you guys can see here that they even have skins in the shop to add a bit of extra flair for when you're in game. These are all good things. These are things that I think free-to-play players, casual players, players who don't want to spend too much time racking their brains figuring things out for this game mode is going to appreciate. However, there are cons, right? The biggest con right now I feel for this game mode is that the lack of any level of competitiveness, meaning like it just none at all whatsoever. You have zero reasons to get serious about this game mode. It's purely a relaxation, wind down game mode. But now you have to compare it to the building your own card, your own set, and maybe try to realize a certain meta. All that stuff is what drives card games. It's what makes card games feel exciting, feel worth it, so that when you do defeat an opponent, you can savor it, you can relish that moment, being all the knowledge that you've accumulated and put into your deck, building it up, testing and failing. It all leads up to that moment of victory. But the less that victory means, the less it will be justifiable for you to spend the time to build a deck and learn the meta and whatnot. What ends up happening in this scenario is likely people will just go online, figure out the best meta deck without having to work for it themselves, because why bother, right? There is really nothing to work for. There's really no meaningful rewards for achieving victory, so the process doesn't really matter anyways. It ends up just being a task people will want to check off their list. I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody, but there's certainly a demographic of people who wouldn't want to put in the effort to learn this game mode. If there are ever any sort of rewards for clearing it, they'll likely do it just to claim the rewards. And so far, the card game doesn't really have direct world benefits into Genshin Impact. In fact, it actually demands resources from the game of Genshin Impact. So you join the card game mode, you have to go farm for certain resources to unlock certain flares. Let's just put it that way, right? Skins essentially for the game mode. So people might be saying like, well, that's boring. Is that boring, people? Really? Like, honest question, is that boring? For a feature that is introduced into Genshin Impact, it's supposed to service the main game. And one way or another, it is supposed to get people who are interested, let's say, in just the card game mode to incentivize them to now go play the main game. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, that's ludicrous, Walrus. Are you saying there are going to be people who download Genshin Impact just to play the card game? I'm not denying it. I know people who play Genshin Impact just to fish. You might not enjoy it, but other people will. Now, the way that the card game is set up is so that it will never really impact the real game in any way, shape, or form. It's supposed to introduce you to the characters, get you familiarized with them, right? Just their basic skill kit, and hopefully it'll edge you more back into the game. The real game, the meaty, greedy Genshin Impact with all the amazing characters that are now not free to play and you have to pull for them. Now, this is just a very surface level analysis of the game mode. What is most important when it comes to features like this is updates. With each patch or every other patch, kind of like the teapot, what is HoYoverse planning for the TCG? Are there going to be quick additions with new characters, playstyles, maybe even support cards, realm cards, all this stuff? It can really change how this game mode is played, really. Like, one card introduced couple months from now could completely shake up everything we've already known, right? What about counter decks? What about cheese decks? It's boring to just play one meta of the card game. And for people who are going to devote a lot of time into this game mode, I can see there's going to be dry spells in this as well. Let's say if 2 patches in a row, HoYoverse doesn't change anything about the TCG, no additions, no buffs or nerfs, because honestly, I think for the TCG, they can actually buff and nerf characters, because you don't spend money getting these cards. So, hey, people, there might actually be game balancing for this game mode. That's why I say the updates are going to be what makes or breaks this game mode. How much resource and attention HoYoverse wants to dedicate to this game mode will also depend on how much players actually play it. If less than 10% of the players are actively playing the TCG, HoYoverse might feel like, well, maybe every 3 patches will make adjustments. We don't know this. There might be cool skins that comes out that are exclusive to the TCG if more than 70% of the players are playing this game mode consistently. It really depends on how much love and attention we put into this game mode, then it shows HoYoverse whether or not it's worthwhile keeping alive. Now, listen, back to the beginning, right? You might not like this game mode. You might detest it. You might frown upon it. You might spit upon it. But it's here and it's staying. There's nothing you can do about that. Just not playing the game mode will not make it go away. It'll just make everybody else who wants to play the game mode suffer in the process. Now, of course, I'm not guilt tripping people being like, well, for the greater cause, help us by playing the game mode. No. I'm just saying, give it a chance. This thing is more complex than it looks on the surface, especially with the potential of new characters, support cards, realm cards, and all this other stuff, weapons and whatnot. But at the same time, it has a very low entry barrier. Like, you just click a few buttons, roll some dices, and more often than not, you're likely gonna win. And especially when you unlock online mode, that's when more interesting battles that can actually give you a challenge depending on who you match up with. Now, do I think there's going to be skill-based matchmaking? Absolutely not. I don't think so, because I don't think enough players are playing this game mode for skill-based matchmaking. But who knows, if enough people care about this mode, that might actually be a thing. Maybe eventually they will add a leaderboard. Maybe eventually they will add a ranking system. Who knows? Like, right now, it's just they don't want to, because they don't want the first impression of this game mode to come off as something that's sweaty, aggressive, meta focused, and try hard. So you really lose nothing by giving it a try. And I do think the TCG is the shining star of Genshin 3.3 and probably even beyond that. I think this game mode will be the crutch that HoYoverse likely will lean towards, along with the teapot during Genshin's dry spells. But who am I to say anything about this? Please let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Maybe in game, maybe in matchmaking. Till then, urge y'all to stay safe and peace. Bye.